Hello everyone! I am super pumped to be here. It has been less than 2 weeks since my last update. Yeah, I did say I wanted to make at least one video a month, and this is video 2. So I'm excited. Anyway, today we are wrapping up January. I'm going to show you what I worked on. I'm going to talk about a little bit of the plans I have for next month. I'm going to talk about some organizational things that I've done this month, and I'm going to show you some purchases. Yay! Alright, so starting with what I left off last time, I worked on the Little Mermaid. This is a MCG Textiles Thomas Kincaid thing. Here it is there. Let me see if I can pull that in there. Yep, that's what it looks like. So I'm going to insert a picture of where I was last time you saw this. And here it is now. So I know the light kind of makes a shadow here. I'm going to go ahead and roll myself in here on my rolly chair and kind of show you that I finished up this purple. I actually had to unpick it because I'd gone one grid too low. Pulled it up, added this orange yellow. I added the blended threads of purple and yellow. They're there and there. There's some over on this side here. Down there I added this sort of lighter blue there and there. Yeah, so that's what it looks like right now. Again, sorry for the shadow there, but yeah. So I'm excited. So that's where it is now. And by the way, I don't know if you're stitching one of these. These are huge. I mean, they're like heaven and earth like size, or Tilton Crafts or Mystic Stitch or any of those big full coverage pieces. They're big. This is just a quarter, so there's another page here that's that size and 2 on the bottom. So I haven't even really stitched an eighth of this. These are big. This is on 18 count Ada, and Brittany, Blimey Cat Stitches, mentioned this. She's stitching the Peter Pan one, and these are big. They're big, and I want to supposedly stitch all of them. I don't even know if I could do that. I mean, one day I could, but right now, I don't even know. But that's what I've got so far, and I'm really happy. You can't really see it that far away, but I'm really happy with where it is right now. So the next thing I worked on was my Nora Corbett. I am working on one of the Bewitchy Pixies, and I'm working on Gwen, which that is what she looks like. This came out, I believe, either maybe November. I think it might have been November. It was towards the end of last year. I'm pretty sure it was after Raven Queen came out. So maybe October-ish, November-ish, something like that. I keep thinking Raven Queen came out towards the end of the year, but it totally didn't. There was just a sale for her in October. Doesn't mean that she came out in October. Yeah, so this might have been actually October. Might have been November. One of those last months of the year. And I'm going to insert a picture of my start, which it was my New Year New Start slash Mirabilia Sal piece for Cross Stitch and Discuss. And it is here. And I have quite a bit of progress. I'm actually really excited. Bam! Oh, isn't it great? I love it. I'm so excited. I almost talked myself into like doing all of the black and then going back and doing it, and I just couldn't. It was too much. I have a lot of black, not just in this piece, but in other pieces, and I was going to get burned out to the point where I wouldn't even want to stitch it. So that's where I am. I added some of the greens of that part of the dress, 3 fence posts, gate things, this vine, the flowers. No beads yet. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the beads at the end, and I think I'm going to go ahead and try the invisible thread. This isn't a very large piece. Usually the Nora Corbett's are pretty small, so if I end up hating it, it should be fairly quick. There's only 4 different beads on this thing, so I think it's going to be okay. And if I end up liking it, great. If I don't, I think I'll be fine matching the DMC to the beads. Yeah, that might get annoying when I do bigger pieces that require tons more beads and might have to change it more. we'll see to that when we get to it. But that's where I am now, and I think I might carry this over into February. Not a whole lot, but a little bit, just because I want to get some more done on her. By the way, this is on 32 count, and it's falling off my Q snap because it's right on the edge here. There we go. That's a little bit better. This is on 32 count Ash Rose Lugana. I wasn't feeling the chocolate brown that all of the Bewitching Pixies are made on, and if I look at it, I mean, honestly, it kind of looks pretty close with my camera colors, but obviously this is a lot pinkier, and that's definitely brown. And I say I want to do all of them because I'm very much into sets, but I don't particularly love all the Bewitching Pixies. I do like a lot of them, so I'll probably pick some sort of semi-neutral Lugana that kind of contrasts the colors of the dresses. So I thought the pink worked well contrasting with the green here. I really like the newer ones, Minerva and Raven. I think it's Raven. So Raven is purple, so I might do like a light green, and Minerva is like a teal color, so for that one maybe I'll do like a dusty purple. I don't know. So that's my idea for the Bewitching Pixies, but that's where I am now, and I'm really pleased with how it's coming up. I'm enjoying it a lot. And this is DMC Black, the 310. I do have some Anchor Black. I think I'm going to reserve it for Raven Queen. We'll see how I like it when I get to that. I have a lot of it because I just decided to buy like 10 or something skeins just because I had all these projects, and then I thought about it. I'm like, I should have bought a cone. I didn't do that. I think if I use up all my DMC 310 and I decide to still continue to use DMC instead of Anchor, I might just buy a cone because clearly I'm going through it like wildfire. So that was the other thing I worked on, other big project I worked on here. I do have some progress on my Valentine's Day, and I still have the string attached, but that's okay. Valentine's Day piece. This is for the Cross Stitch and Discuss Valentine's Day Sal. It started on the 14th and it runs to the 14th because it gives you a month to stitch. But now that I think about it, I guess it would make sense to have that done beforehand, before the 14th. I don't know. Whatever. So I am doing a freebie. I will try to find the link so I can put it down below, but I know it's from a French blog. I'm not really sure what the name is, but I just call it Heart of Roses because it's literally a heart. I just lost my needle. That's okay. That's okay. I'll pick it up in a second. It is a Heart of Roses. So it's gonna, that's the top like curve of the hearts. It's gonna curve around to the bottom here, curve back up and close off. There's roses and there's some little hearts in between. You can see the first one. Here, let me roll back in. I don't want my head to get cut off the whole video, but maybe I just need to be closer to the camera. I don't know. But that's it there. You can see the first heart. I am using a variegated for this. I'm using DMC 4205, which you can see there to the best of my lighting abilities. I think for the top hearts, because of the way they curve like in and they make that pointy center of the heart, I'm going to do them. I'm going to try and work the thread exactly where the color I want to use is. So I think they're too little to have variegation, but the roses I think look awesome with the variegated. So I'm really excited. This is I think it's just called Baby Pink Ada by DMC. Yeah, 14 count little piece of Ada I had left over. It's actually like a long strip, which is why I have this paper clipped over here, but I didn't want to cut it just because I figured I'd cut it after I get to the other end, and it's easy to stitch this in hand and hold it and whatnot. So yeah, so I'm really excited about that. I should have it done before the 14th, but if I don't, it's no big deal. I'm thinking of finishing as an ornament, which is what the blog suggests you finish it as, so we'll have to see. And let's see if I can fix this so I'm not like poking out of the bottom. That's just weird. One second. That's definitely a little bit better. I'm not like just a head with no neck, because that's weird and whatever. So anyway, that was my other really main piece of work, I do have a finish to share with you guys. So here is the finish. It is a dog's love. As you can recall, I was really close to finishing this last time. I backstitched these top paws. I backstitched the dog's house as well as the collar down here. I also, did I do anything else? I think that was it. I think that's all that I had left. So it is done. This is a dimensions kit. I did change the font on Love. I wanted to look a little bit more like cursive. Then I realized my L and my O a little bit bigger compared to the V and the E, but I don't really mind. It's cute. I don't mind. I have 2 dogs, so I put both their names and divided it with a French knot there. And there is like a little border that goes around it in brown. I decided not to do that because I was testing the mat board. I want to put it on like just a 5x7 opening, like a mat board that has a 5x7 opening, and the top and bottom go right up against it, so you wouldn't even be able to see the border. The left and right don't. You have one extra row column that is visible, and if it really does happen, what I'll do is I would just add like a little bit of the red and brown here and 1 row of orange, just so that it goes right up, because I thought it'd look weird like if the top and bottom hit the top of the frame and the bottom of the frame and the left and right don't. We'll have to see how it looks. But I decided not to cross stitch that in until I find like the final frame that I want, because it's possible that the mat board wasn't cut exactly 5x7. Maybe it was a little bit longer than 7. So when I get the final frame that I want, then I will go ahead and see if I do need to add an extra row of stitches, just so that like there's not just one random extra column, because that would just look weird. But yeah, so I do have a finish and I'm really excited about that. And that is all that I had already started and I worked on. I did mention that I had worked on, what am I talking about here? I'm sorry, I'm like so out of sync. Okay, I had mentioned that for my Harry Potter stitch along, which also began on the 14th, I had created a pattern which was all the titles of all the books inspired by the shirt you may have seen if you're a Harry Potter fan or if you know of one, where it has the part of the title, so it said Stone, Chamber, Prisoner, Goblet, Order, Prince, and Hallows. Well, I kind of wanted to do that, but I wanted the fonts to be different. In the shirt, they're all really the same. So I created my own pattern, but I didn't actually start it right away because we got the sad news that Alan Rickman passed away. So I stitched the Always pattern from Etsy, which I showed in my last video. So I kind of have consolidated my pattern a little bit more. I had it on this huge thing that I printed, and I printed a smaller graph paper, so now it's a little bit more manageable. So that's what I still need to maybe tape it together and scan it so I can print it as one whole thing. But that's what my pattern looks like. Everything's the same except for Hallows. I had to change the font just because the font I had originally picked, it was just too big. Like it just, I thought I was going to be able to play around with the spacing in between the letters, and it still stuck out way more than I wanted it to. Well, I did manage to start this. I got my 16 count Ada, which by the way, I don't have it, it's rolled up I think because it's on a sticker, and this is really huge actually. But this is really soft Ada. I've never worked with such soft Ada before. It's awesome. I don't know if it's witched or what. I just know it. I think it is witched. I don't know, because I got it off of eBay and I had 3 different people I was deciding in between based on pricing and delivery time and such. But I'm really happy with it. So this is it, my tiny little start on stone, which again, I'm going to show you, this is my pattern, so it's okay that it's there. So just the top of the S there. And I'm doing this in the DMC satin. I'm not exactly happy with the stitches, but I really like how the floss looks. I think it's hard for this to look nice. I don't know why. Maybe I need to run it through some thread heaven. I don't know why I didn't think to do that before. but in fact, like, it looks so messy, and I'm like, I'm doing it just as I do my other stitches, and they don't come out that bad. I'm like, I don't want to stitch this up and then find out, like, come to the end and be all unhappy with how it looks. So I don't know, I'll have to try a little bit of Thread Heaven. I mean, I'm keeping my threads short because they do fray. I'll have to try the Thread Heaven and see if that helps. But my idea is to do, because I like how the satin pops on the black specifically, is to do each one kind of in a color reminiscent of the way the Harry Potter letters stand out in the original covers of the book. So we have gold for stone, silver for chamber, green for prince, sort of like an orangey yellow for goblet, blue for order, purple for prince, and red for hallows. So I do have a satin in all those colors. Not the exact match because the satin line is much more limited than the cotton line, but we'll see how it goes. I think they do match a regular cotton, so if it really comes out looking that bad, I might just switch to the cotton version, but I really like the shininess of it. I was thinking originally of doing it in like a mousse silk, but a lot of her silks are variegated, and the ones that aren't, like, I wasn't finding the colors that I wanted. So for this piece, it didn't work out. So I need to work on that. It is a year-long sale, so technically I can take the whole time, but I'd like to put this pattern on my Etsy store, since so many, well, my Etsy store that currently exists with nothing in it. Yeah, I would like to have a picture of a model stitch before I do that. If it honestly takes me too long, I might just put it up just for fun. I'm just doing it because people expressed interest, and I thought that was really neat, not so much because I'm trying to start a whole side business or anything. I did download the free trial of PC Stitch. I might go ahead and purchase it. I do have my hand pencil done pattern, which I'm currently on my third draft of, because I got the most of the spacing down, but not quite, and I did get the letters down. I had to reduce the heights of some letters for it not to look a little too awkward. Like, some of them were definitely bigger than other ones, but like, I had some letters that were like really big and some were really short, so I had to even it out a little bit. So they are between like 19 and 24 stitches in height, depending on which title it is, which isn't too bad. And they do progressively get slightly bigger, and they get a little bit smaller on the way back down, so it'll work out. But yeah, so I just didn't think it looked very professional for me to like scan in my pencil drawn copy to sell on Etsy. So I might do the whole PC Stitch. You can't really save anything on the trial, so I'd have to purchase it. So we'll see if I do that, or if it's just, since it's my first one, maybe I just scan it in. I don't know, I haven't decided on that, but I am excited that I started it. So there that is. I started that. I can actually tell you because I'm writing stuff down now. I started that pattern on the 27th. So January 27th I started that, and I just had a few stitches in there, so a little bit earlier this week. I am taking a master's class this semester, so didn't really have a lot of time to super do a lot, but I did a little something there. So that was that. And then the last thing I decided to work on was my Heaven and Earth, which I had worked on earlier in the month, but I wanted to do the Hay Challenge, which is the diagonal blocks, 10 by 10 blocks, 100 stitches each, so you have to do 10 total because the challenge is to do 1,000 stitches in this 10 by 10 blocks. But the diagonals can only touch on the corner, so, or the blocks, I'm sorry, can only touch on the corner, so you can make it a diagonal, a checkerboard, half and half. I saw some people make kind of like a heart. I was kind of thinking of doing a diamond. I'll show you in my clip. I actually started with one piece, and it didn't entirely work out, and I will share in the clip why. So I decided to start something else for two reasons. One, because of, I'm sorry, hiccups. One, because of this challenge. Two, because I got it in the mail and I just really wanted to start it. So anyway, by the way, so this is what I was gonna work on. This is my mini Unleash the Butterflies. It is by Cindy Nielsen, and I love it. I love it. I had mentioned when I first talked about this that I was going to swap out colors for the butterflies. I've decided against that now. I think it would look okay if maybe there was 1 or 2 butterflies, but I think there's too many, and I think it just wouldn't look nice. I am still planning on using metallics on the necklace, so that'll be a little something different. But I decided to just stick with the black and white because I think it'll look really nice. So yeah, so that's the one I tried to start the Hey Challenge with. So this is where my mini Unleash the Butterflies is. Really not a lot of progress. I mean, the only thing that I added since I showed this last is this over here. And that is where I was going to do the Hey Challenge, where you had to do the diagonals. And it was working actually fine. That probably was the block that was going to have the most colors. This entire chart has 14 colors because it's a black and white chart. But this section really only had 2-3 colors, except for this one block that had, how many strands are there? 4, and I had to add 1 more, so 5. Then most of the diagonals I was gonna do like going this way, sort of in a diamond-y pattern, because the diagonals this way and this way would have 2 colors. There's a couple down here that would have 3, and it would work out. But this is my Michael's floor stand. I remember, if you remember, I made a video about it. It's fairly good. I'm not going to say it's not, but I don't think it can handle this 11 by 17 Q-snap. This over here kept sliding down, and it was at such an awkward angle that it was really tough to stitch. It hurt my back after a while because my chair wasn't at the right height, and it just got me so frustrated I couldn't stitch on it. I just couldn't. So as you can see, this is upside down. I actually turned it. This is you can turn this all the way around so that you can end your threads, and I'm not even doing that. If you can see here, I've got waist knots because I end and start my threads in the front. I just got it this one instead of the F.E. Edmonds because in case I do want to work on a project that I am ending threads on, I could easily turn it. But I'm thinking maybe this will hold the tension better. I don't know, you guys. I was getting so frustrated, and my hubby's so sweet. He was in the room. He was just like, hun, just how much was that one stand that you were talking about? It's the Lowry stand. I've mentioned a few times I'm really interested in getting it. And I'm like, no, it's too much. We can't do it right now. And he's like, you know what? In a few months, just go ahead and get it. And you're getting way too frustrated, and this is your fun thing, and it shouldn't, you know, and if it's hurting your back, that's not good. And, you know, it was really cool that he was super supportive, but I really don't want to get that at this point. I want to wait because it is a big expense. I'm waiting till the right time. But so I decided to work on the project I'm going to show you now instead. So yeah, sorry for that big tangent, but yeah. So hopefully this will work well, because if not, I'm not sure when I'm going to work on this, because my lap stand, which I really use as a tabletop stand, probably won't work well with the 11 by 17 either for me. But yeah, so let's go back to my whips, all right? Okay. The one that I got in the mail is actually a retired chart. I didn't know for a while that Heaven and Earth had charted some Nini Thomas. Again, I know there's different reasons for artists no longer being on there, but I know you can get some from other sellers, sometimes online, stash unload, that sort of thing. So I decided to get the Story Keep Rhapsody. This is kind of like a bookmark type thing. The size on 25 count, which I'm actually doing it on 22 count, so it'll be a little bit bigger, but it would be about 4 3/8 of an inch wide and 13 7/8 of an inch height. So, and it does contain 65 colors, which is a lot for this tiny chart. So that's what it looks like. I love my Nini Thomas. I have some art books by her, and I would have bought another chart, but they only had the, like, what are those called? Quick stitches? It's the one where they take like a section of the chart and they have just that, and I really wanted the whole one, so that's why I decided to go with this one instead. And it was awesome for the challenge because you can see that top part has a lot of black, and I have just enough squares available to actually do all my checkerboards in black, which the clip I showed you, the boxes I chose, the most was 5 colors. Then there was a couple that would have 3 colors, and most of them would have 2 colors. That just happened to be the section of the chart I worked on. The chart I have, since it's black and white, it's only 14 colors. So even like highly colored bits, black and white, would have maybe 9-10 colors out of the 14. It's not like it had 27 colors in one block, which I know is entirely possible. But I think this is a fantastic way to stitch blocks that have maybe 1, 2, maybe even up to 3 or 4 colors. I think it makes it really easy to do. I don't know how I would feel about having tons of colors and stitching this diagonal way. I think it would drive me crazy with threads everywhere. I don't know. But I think it's a good way to get some headway when you have very few colors or 1 color. So this is in a hoop. I do work some projects in a hoop. And I got 3 of them done. I'm going to be able to do about 6 or 7 this way, and then I'll have to go down this way for some of the other blocks, and then I'll go back and fill it in. Yeah, so that was everything else I worked on this month. So that wraps up January, and I'm really excited with what I got to work on. I had a lot of starts toward the beginning of the month, as I showed in my last video, and I'm really happy with the progress I did get, especially on Little Mermaid and the Gwen. I'm excited. I think I'm gonna get her done in a good time frame, so I'm super excited. All right, moving on to organizational stuff. All right, so the first thing I want to show you, and this is a shout out to Letitia, the Crafted Curator, who showed this in her last or one of her last videos. She showed her entire DMC collection in one container. I had like 4 and a little bit of a 5th bobbin box, just a traditional regular size bobbin box that you can get at your Hobby Lobby, Michaels, etc. I had 5 of those. Most of it fit in 4, but I did have to use a whole row of the 5th one. And I actually had a 6th one in which I had satins and metallics. So that was a lot. And she showed the entire DMC cotton collection, which is about 490 something colors, something crazy, almost 500 in one container, and I'm like, I need this in my life. I asked her what it was. She told me, and I got it at Joann's, and this is what it looks like here. Look at that. It's not very thick. It's got a cool handle. I mean, the snap is a really good snap. It snaps into place. And I've got, this is the entire, with some bobbins I do have out, but I tried to leave space in where I would actually put them. I might be off by 1 or 2, but for the most part, the space is available there. You can kind of see it here, like where I have some movement in that. If I were to shake it, there's some movement. Other than that, they're packed pretty tightly. In each section, I put anywhere between 9 and 11 bobbins. I bobbinate by hand, so maybe that makes it thicker. I feel like Letitia's had a lot more leftover room than mine did, but she does use a drill to bobbinate, so maybe that makes it a little bit tighter. But if I try to stuff any more, they'll all just pop out. So I didn't do that. But yeah, so this is most of it on the one side, and then you turn it around, and there's the rest, and I have a whole row left over. So even if I miscounted and I didn't leave enough room for the bobbins I have out, I will be able to use that extra row. I mean, it's not that many colors that I have out, maybe like 20, which, I mean, even if I use that, I'd still have 1 little box left over. So I'm really happy about this. Now, I have a bunch of empty bobbin boxes now, but I do have a plan for them, which I'll mention actually in a little bit. But I'm really happy with this. So this is organizational tip number 1. This container is called the Creative Options Thread Organizer. The way let me look at the picture, because that's what Letitia told me it was called, and she bought it off of Amazon, but I actually got it at Joann's. At Joann's it was $14.99, but it was on sale for, I believe, either 40 or 50% off. But even if it wasn't on sale, they usually have a 40 or 50% off, and sometimes, if you're really lucky, a 60% off. So you can pretty much get this for around $7-8. I believe I paid less than 8, so it was like $7.69 or $7.79, something along those lines. Some people, I did post a picture of this on some of the Facebook groups, and some people were saying Walmart sells it flat out for $7 or $8, so you can get it at a really, truly affordable price. So don't mind me while I'm looking down. I think I have, yep, here it is. I saw it as the Creative Options double-sided multi-craft carrier. The name she found it under was Creative Options, I think double-sided thread organizer. But I was looking at the picture and it's the same exact product, so that's what it is. It is fantastic. I love it. It's awesome. The other bobbin box was about half of this, which makes sense because that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and because it had a little bit less room, I had to use that extra row of the 5th one. But it's still super, super compact. I mean, it's awesome. So I love it. And if you are one of those people that has like a full set of anchor, you could use it for that as well. I know some people mention that they use this for like their specialty threads. I think that's what I'm gonna do with my empty ones now. One, for kitting up projects and keeping the bobbins that I'm using organized, and 2, putting my specialty threads, really my Mo sale, which I'm really starting to kind of collect. Which I might as well mention it now. I'm really excited. I decided to join the Mo's Floss of the Month Club. We'll see how long I can stick with it. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's going to be too expensive. So I'm really excited. Or maybe after I collect a decent amount, I'll just kind of stop and go back to what I was doing before, which was just kind of picking and choosing the colors I wanted. So I'll probably bobbinate that, put it in the floss boxes, and that should, I don't think it'll fill up more than one now, but eventually it might. So I'm excited about that. So that's organization tip discussion number 1. I'm not sure. Alright, next thing I want to talk about is my Stitchy journal. I actually showed this last month, and then I saw on Stitch Mania Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff, which I will link her channel down below if you have not watched her, because she's really awesome and she's got a lot of cool projects going on. Well, anyway, she mentioned she was inspired to do her own journal, which I thought was kind of cool. So yeah, I'm excited that she's doing that. But she inspired me to kind of have a little bit more fun with mine and really organize it a little bit better and have a little bit more fun with it. So one thing I've always really liked is pens and fonts. The pen thing comes from my dad. He loves trying different pens and just the flow of how each one writes and this and that. Obviously not as much into all the color options as I am, but he's definitely into the pens. So I collect a lot of pens and I like writing in different fonts. So I decided to make a cover page, which is right here, Stitchy Time Journal. And usually I either think up of the font, or again I go online on like freefonts.com. There's like 1,001 free fonts and other font websites, and look at it and either sketch it out, usually make some changes because usually there's something about it that I don't like and I like making it my own and just playing with it. So that's in a deep eggplant purple, even though it kind of looks black. And I also wanted to include the saying a stitch in time, a journey in stitch. But I didn't want to ruin just the simplicity of the page, so I just basically made a second cover page and I included the year. And I'm a little bit bummed because some of my decorations from January kind of bled through. That's okay. I might just leave it since it's not ruining the words, or maybe I'll find some stickers. Just go navigate the sticker aisle at the craft store sometime soon and pick something out to put. But there's a journey in stitch. I put the year. And I left this blank because this is big enough that it's going to last me probably 2 years. It probably originally was going to last me more, but because of the bleeding, I'm actually going to skip a page in between. Might use some like double-sided tape or something to like keep them together, and that way it'll keep them nice and thick too. So I'll probably have enough space for about, because I was counting it out and it would be about halfway. So I'll be able to do 2 years, which works out nicely because otherwise it would have lasted me maybe 3 or 4 years. But in all honesty, I probably am going to want a new journal in 2 years, assuming I stick with it, which I think I will because I'm really enjoying it. So I redid my January. I did a bunch of fonts. So this is like really busy, but I don't like blank spaces, which is why I added the decorations. So there's my January title in a fun font. Here, let me scooch in a little bit. I added a calendar just to kind of be able to see what the weeks look like, how everything was sort of spread out in the month, when week started and ended, and that sort of thing. I'm not really going to mark any events or anything like that, but I just wanted to be able to see in one glance what dates were what, how many weekends were available, that kind of stuff. I put all my starts, which I did show last time. I just used a different font for starts, kind of organized that there, the date I was starting them. Crazy 7, so the bottom I would reserve for any other sort of things that were going on, anything special that month. And then my impromptu start, which I probably will have at least every other month, if not every month, was my Hey to Story Keep Rhapsody, which I started on the 25th. So yeah, that's that. And then on this page I put what I want to work on and what I want to finish. I decided to put stuff that I want to work down. Definitely gonna have space left over, and then if I work on anything else, I just add it in. If it's a start, I put it as an impromptu start, but if I just decide to work on it, I'll just write it under that. So I worked on Gwen, Always, which I also finished, Little Mermaid, the Harry Potter titles, Heart of Roses, Minnie Unleashed the Butterflies, A Dog's Love, and the Story Keep Rhapsody. I didn't put my other starts. Technically I could put like my Ornament Sal start on here, Quiet Fire, but since I really only worked on those on the start date, I didn't put them in the working on. I only put them in the working on if I worked on them, like, or want to work on them aside from just the start. Then I have a finish section, which is going to include my block for the Magical Creatures calendar every month. And this month I also finished Always and A Dog's Love, and I knew I was Always I finished so quickly I put it in before, like, once I was ready to add it in, it was already done, so I just put it straight up in the Always, in the finish section. A Dog's Love I just put there because I knew, like, I was so close, like, there was no way I wouldn't finish it. And I find that's a good way to push myself. I'm really only going to put stuff there if I know that I can finish it. Not if I think I can finish it, but if I know I can definitely finish it. I can just in one sitting finish it up, maybe 2 sittings at most. I won't have much all the time, in all honesty. I know every month I'm going to have the Magical Creatures January block, but that's really it. Not January block, the block that goes with that month, and I think I'm going to do that every year. I mentioned in my last video I don't really like mystery sales. I like seeing what's going to be there. I mean, I would say at least a third, if not a half, needs to be available so that I can see if I'm going to like it. But I probably am just going to stitch in a previous year stitch along, just because I don't like not knowing what's going to come out. I don't know. It's just not me. It's not me. Having said that, I may start the pumpkin passport at some point, just because somebody mentioned the bright idea of, like, making it a Whovian adventure and adding something Doctor Who. Like, Katie made her girl Rose on the Vespa, which is from Idiot's Lantern, where she shows up in, like, this cool pink dress with the, like, denim jacket, and her hair's up kind of like the girls is. So I probably will do that and still make some changes so that we all have each unique thing. But I think it'll be a lot easier for me to look at the whole piece and say, I'm going to add this on that block, this on that block, this on that block. And that one just fits perfectly because it's on a Vespa, but I mean, come on. The Doctor and Rose are on a Vespa the whole episode. It was perfect. So, yeah. I really would like to do the Whovian pumpkin passport, but because I want to see what's there, to see how I'm inspired to change it, I would want to wait to see the whole piece. The only thing that worries me about that is I don't want to see the other people doing the whole Whovian thing and be inspired by theirs and then, like, not be able to see something else for it, but I think I'll be fine. I think the only reason I see Rose in the block is, like I said, because it's exactly, I mean, it connects to the Idiot's Lantern episode so well. Like, it's just perfect. But I think on the other blocks, most likely, it'll be really easy to come up with their own thing. So that was that. I decided to add some snowflakes, and I figured every month I could add some sort of motif for the month. Not that we get any snow here at all. ever, except, I mean, I think the last time it snowed here, the only time was like forever ago. I remember there was a thing going around Facebook of the last time, like the paper of that year. The day it snowed here. Yeah, it doesn't snow here. It gets cold for us is like in the 60s. If it's in the 50s, we're like, what's going on? What? No. So yeah, but hey, snowflakes, cool, because they're January, and that's why they bled through, because I used a pen that basically has 2 inks. It's some sort of magic. I love those pens. When you write or draw or whatever, it comes out of the color and then like it frosts over. So this is blue, and then it frosts over with gold, and it frosts, where's the other one? It frosts over with silver. I don't know what magic this is, but it's really cool. I might have to do a little video just showing that. And then in the bottom, I decided to do a little reflection of like stuff that I did that month. So I talked about how I started my journal, that I discovered that you can get you can't see me, that I discovered you can get retired hate charts on eBay. I put that I'm really excited about organizing my DMC into one container. I have to talk about this later, but that I'm getting sucked into the black hole of hand-dyed fabrics. They're awesome, and I'm really excited. That I decided to join the most sale floss of the month, and I can't wait to see like what I'm gonna get, or even though I don't know how long I'm gonna stick with it. And I did my first major conversion, which I showed last month, with which was on the Magical Creatures calendar. I did a bunch of color changes. I think there's only one color I left the same. Yeah, just one. So yeah, so I know it seems silly now because I know that I did it, but maybe in a few months I won't remember exactly how I felt, or when, like, I won't remember at the end of the year, or when I continue on to 2017 exactly when I got into hand-dyed fabric. So it'd be a nice way to kind of go back and say like, oh hey, yeah, I started, like, I really fell in love with this dyer on this month when I got a piece of fabric from them. So yeah, so originally I was gonna write in the next page, but my thing bled over, so I'm probably gonna get some double-sided tape and stick this over. And then here's February. So new fun font, so much fun. Decided to go with 2 colors, pink and red this time. So there's my little calendar. It came out a lot straighter this time, which I'm really excited about. Changed a lot of my motifs to little hearts. There's the starts, not that many planned for this month. Ongoing sales, which are, I mean, most of my January starts that were sales were year-long sales, because that's the new format that our Cross Stitch and Discuss Facebook group is trying, which is great because some, I mean, they do have some challenge sales which only last a month or 3 months or whatever, but other groups will have like a 1-month sale or a 3-month sale. So I like having the different formats. I really am only active in 2 groups. I'm thinking of joining another group back up just because I know they have a lot of nice people on there, but I just like joined a bunch of Facebook groups when I discovered them, and I really like didn't click on them. It was just too much. So I might do one more just because I feel like a lot of people I interact with are on that one. And maybe get through some sales on there as well, but most of the ones are year-long. So I'm really excited about that. So I have my stitch-alongs that are this month here, which really is the Magical Creatures and the We Love Stitching. That's a Stitch Mania. Challenges, we have the You Had Me at I Love Reading, which is a 3-month challenge. You pick anything that has like a book, or it's characters from a book, or it's related to a book. That's through Cross Stitch and Discuss. They also have the February 17th, March through March 17th, St. Patrick's Day 1-month sale, and the February 27th through March 27th, Easter sale. And then the one that actually runs through March was started last month, which is the Heaven and Earth Diagonal. So those are the challenges that I'm doing this month. And then other goals, which by the way, oh, I forgot to show you I added that. So last month my other goal was to organize my floss, my DMC cotton collection, into the one container. So like that involved like finding out what it was called, going and purchasing it and reorganize it, and I did that. My other goal for this month, and I might have more than one, but for now I just have Bobbinate Mo's Sale Floss. And, well, the cottons anyway. I think the silks I'm just gonna twist up and just put in a box. Because I have a good bunch of them, maybe like 20 to 30 from orders. I mean, I started ordering from Mo like 5-6 months ago. And now I'm gonna do the month of the club. Really? The floss of the month club for Mo's sale. So like the goal is to have it all bobbinated, so when I get my first ones, which will be the February ones, I'll just have to bobbinate those ones that I get. And she said it's usually 9 to 10 colors, so that way it'll be easy and I just have 10 colors to bobbinate instead of 20 to, you know, adding another 30, like another 10, so having 30 and then 40 and then 50, and then I just have this giant bag of mixed up floss. So bobbinate that and use one of my empty previous floss boxes to store that. Which, by the way, I made my O's into buttons. I had this really random thought of, hey, that kind of reminds me of The Other Mother from Coraline. Coraline was kind of sort of creepy, cool film. And there was this, spoilers, I guess, if you never saw this, she goes into this other world and she has this other mother, and everybody in the other world has buttons for eyes, and it actually was pretty morbid. Like the other mother was actually some creature that was trying to collect souls, so she convinced kids that her world was better and she gave them everything they wanted, but in order to stay they had to sew buttons in their eyes because everybody in other world has buttons for their eyes, and the minute they do that they lose their souls, and other mother, which is actually some spider-like creature, can steal their souls. So I don't know why I had this random creepy thought. I mean, it was a great movie, don't get me wrong, but I was just like, other goals, other mother, buttons, let me make my O's into buttons. So I did. I'm weird, but we knew that. I mean, we knew that. So that's my journal so far. I'm so excited to keep along with it. I'm so excited I inspired somebody to start one. I hope more people do. I know a lot of people use the Stitch app, and Jessie mentioned this in her video too. I am a paper and pen sort of person. I just am. I have the app. I've recorded some finishes, but like progress and that kind of stuff, no. I like this. I like this a lot more. So I'm really excited about that. So, oh, I forgot to talk about what I was going to work on. I know some people show what they're going to be working on, but I mean, I can show you some of the stuff, but I don't have everything ready, so you will see it, I promise, but at least you can hear what it's going to be. So I definitely want to start and finish my February block for the Magical Creatures calendar. I'm going to work on / finish my Heart of Roses, which I actually don't have that in my finish section. So I need to add that there because I just have it on my working on section, but the stitch along ends this month, so I need to finish that. I'm going to work on Yoda. Yoda was a pattern that was on Etsy forever ago. It's not there anymore. I can't find it. I had a different account when I got that, and then when I decided to go back into Etsy and open one up and actually look into getting a store, I just created a new account. So I don't have it. I don't have a picture. I'm sorry. You'll see it when it comes up. Yoda is for my husband, who is a big Star Wars fan. So that's going to be actually my We Love Stitching piece, because you can stitch something related to love, something with a heart in it, or like Cupid's in it, or something for someone you love. So Yoda is, you know, not Valentine-y at all, but it is for somebody who I love. So I'm going to stitch on him. I might even carry that over into the next month's Stitch Mania Stitch Along, which is something about green. We love, it can't be We Love Green. It's not We Love Stitching with. It's something about green, and there's definitely like tons of green in the pattern. So I might carry that over because I really want to get that done for our anniversary this year. I mentioned when I first started it, like last year when I first started stitching, and I didn't realize how time consuming it was, which I love it, but yeah, I thought I could be done like really quickly, and I wasn't. That I wanted to have it done by his birthday this year, but that's in a few weeks. And I just had so much stuff going on. I picked up so much stuff that I didn't. There's no way I'm gonna get it done in a few weeks. I just have like a tiny corner, and it's an 11 by 11 on 16 count Nita. So the goal is to have it done by either anniversary or Christmas, which is actually a few weeks away from each other. So I mean, it just gives me a few extra weeks. So hopefully hopefully by our anniversary. I'm working on Stardust Fairy by Joan Elliott. I'm working on Book Spines, which is a pattern by Hardcore Stitch Core on Etsy. I actually have that. I had my Etsy account ready so I can at least show you some of the stuff. Maybe one day I'll get good about showing you everything, but I don't know. It was just a lot to pull out. So that's, I know the lighting is horrible, but you can get the general idea. So that's the pattern. This is for the challenge. You had me at I Love Reading, but it's through Cross Stitch and Discuss, and it's 3 months. And if you finish your piece in 3 months, you get put in for a drawing. So yeah, it's exciting. Not that I've ever won anything, but there's so many people that enter these drawings one day, and it's still fun to stitch. It's a great opportunity to stitch something fun, and I am going to use some of my Mo sale for each book. The quote on there, our books are both our luxuries and our daily bread. Lovely quote, but I think I'm going to change it to reading is dreaming with your eyes open. I love that quote. I think it's really cool. So that's that one. I'm going to be working on the gingerbread house ornament, which I don't have to show. Actually, I might be able to pull a picture up. I started this for the year-long ornament sale. The idea is to stitch as many ornaments as you can in the year. And I have a bunch of these little plastic canvas Needle Magic ink kits that I love stitching up. Mainly because one of my first stitches was one of those kits. And I really wanted to stitch it. So I kind of went on an eBay hunt for a bunch of them, and yeah, so that's what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna be working on Faith, Hope, Luck, and Love, which is a freebie by Kreinik, and it is for the St. Patrick's Day 1 month sale. The only thing I feel kind of bad about, because the freebie is by Kreinik, I really should be using Kreinik. But I have all that DMC light effects, and I think I have the match of those colors, and I just want to use it up. So I think a small piece like this is the best to use it on, even though I won't use up that much of it. But I don't know, maybe I'll bite the bullet and get the Kreinik. But I do have that DMC light effects. I don't want to just throw it out. I know it's really annoying to work with, but I have it. I spent money on it. I want to use it. But that's what it's going to look like. Again, I know with the phone the lighting sucks, but at least you get the idea. So that's going to be that piece. I'm also going to be working on a spring egg for my Easter year month-long sale. So that's going to look like that, which it's a freebie also. And I don't always just stitch freebies, but I just have quite a few of them racked up. And I did do a different Easter egg for last year's Easter 1 month sale. So I'm thinking I might want to do an egg this year. Last year I saved like 5 or 6 patterns that were free. I mean truly free. And I have something for my Easter month-long sale for at least the next 5 years. But yeah, so some of those, sometimes it's hard because you search for free stuff, especially on Pinterest, which is wonderful for a lot of things, but when it comes to cross stitch, you have to be so careful. I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome, this free pattern, but like I know better now, and I'm like, let me check, make sure this is actually a free pattern, and sometimes it is. A lot of times it's not, so that really sucks. Like I found a really awesome one. I thought it was a free pattern, and it looked like it, and it was set up that way, but then I found a second version of it where you could actually see that it was a scan from a book that said copyright blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, really? Like, I mean, either you're dishonest and you use it, or like you think we're stupid and that we're not going to notice that this is a scan. So it was some Russian cross stitch artist too, so I had a huge, like, it was difficult to find the pattern, so I decided to go with that freebie instead, and then maybe one day I will try to actually track down this other pattern that I really liked. Anyway, I'm also going to try and get some progress on my mini Unleash the Butterflies. Again, I mentioned this last month. That's going to be on my working on every month because it's a heaven and earth. If I go 1 month without at least putting I can put a good 200 to 300 stitches on that, and that's not a lot, especially because it's 14 colors. I can really put a lot of stitches in that. I still haven't done, I mean, maybe when I get to the bottom of Rhapsody, which is going to be more colorful, yes, but I still haven't started Heaven and Earth that has like tons and tons of colors, so I don't know how long that might take me or how long it'll go, but I know this is something I can get done fairly quickly. So I want to work on that. I did mention I was going to carry over Gwen, so I'll work on her some, and again the Rhapsody Story Keep by Heaven and Earth. So lots of things that I'm working on, but like I mentioned, I don't have a rotation per se. I just have projects I want to work on. That could be one day, it could be a whole week. I might work on 2 or 3 projects a day. I just want to make sure that I put some stitches into these projects this month. If I start something else or work on something else, I'll add it in, but because it's written down, I kind of feel like, okay, I really do need to do this. But if I don't, I'm not gonna like bat myself over the head either. I'll just know, oh, okay, I didn't quite manage to get on that. So that wraps up what I'm going to be working on. Okay, so couple things. I mentioned when I was talking about my little reflection in my journal that I'm really getting into fabric. Not just, I mean, yes, other, fabrics that you can get that are just come in a color, certain color, but also hand-dyed fabrics. And right now I'm mainly shopping through eBay, but I have kind of viewed some that I want to buy from specific dyers that people have mentioned that are really great. I don't think I want to do a fabric of the month, just because, just like I mentioned, I don't like mystery stitch-alongs. I don't like just getting a random piece of fabric, which I'm sure are going to be gorgeous, because every time somebody shows them, I'm like, I really like that. I mean, there might have been one time that I'm like, it's okay, but it's not my color. I'm not feeling it, sort of thing. But for the most part, they're beautiful. But I want something where I know, or at least I have a general idea that I like it enough that I know I'm going to stitch something on it. So I thought for fabric, I think with the Most Sale, I've enjoyed her flosses very much, and it's so easy to put flosses into stuff because it's just a little bit of a piece. But with the fabric, that's like the whole thing. So I think I'd rather like just budget myself and say, okay, this, I'm gonna purchase 2 fabrics this month or something like that, and then I just go and choose what those fabrics are instead of doing a club. So the first one I have was actually a gift. I forgot to show you. This was for Christmas. My hubby, who is so cute and wanted to get me something cross-stitchy but didn't know, he tried to go on his own, and he just went in the store and he's like, what do I get? So he called me and he's like, I'm at that store, the cross-stitch place. Can you tell me like what? And I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to get an opalescent white fabric. And he's like, what? And I'm like, just something white that's shiny. So he picked up this. This is Fabric Flair 28 count even weave antique white with silver speckles. And I've never seen this or heard of them, but yeah, so it's a 19.7 by 17.7 piece of 28 count even weave. And again, I can never see this, but when I play back the video, I see the sparkles, so I'm hoping you see the sparkles there. This is a little bit different. First of all, this is a very bright antique white. It's beautiful. It just looks like white to me, but it's like a spray-on because the back of the fabric has no speckles on it at all, so it's like sprayed on or something. It's not weaved in. I also got, no clue what it's called. I know it's 20, oh shoot, I think it's 28 count. I'm fairly certain it's 28 count. Beautiful piece, opalescent Lugana, from Stash Unload. This thing, Tracy has mentioned this, Jessie has mentioned this. I opened this up and I was just like, I just, like, as Tracy said, I feel like I just secondhand smoked from that. Like, the person decided to smoke like a pack right before shipping my fabric or something. This has been in a bag with like half a box of Bounce dryer sheets for like a week and a half. And now it's like super, super strong smell of dryer sheets, but I definitely prefer that over disgusting smoke stink. Like, if something smells, you need to discount some money. If you don't want to say because you don't think people are going to buy your stuff, at least make it a little bit cheaper. I mean, really. Anyway, it's gorgeous. I love it. It's sparkly, it's purple and white. I'm probably going to do a Mirabilia on here or a Joan Elliott. I don't know which one yet. This is a 18 by 27 piece. And thankfully it does not smell of smoke anymore. But when I opened this, I was so mad because it like ruined the experience of receiving this fabric, which I knew was gorgeous and it's even better in real life. But it ruined that experience. I opened it and I'm like, this is disgusting. It's happened to me twice. Once through eBay, once through Stash Unload. I make sure on eBay to double check that it says comes from non-smoke home. Sometimes I don't, but I find myself buying fabric from like the same people on eBay, so I'm kind of know that they already don't have. So yeah, so that's it folded up so you can show it to you a little bit better. So maybe I'll have to lay this out somewhere so that the smell can dissipate a little bit, because it does smell kind of a lot like dryer sheets now. Like I feel like I'm going to get frustrated once I start stitching on it. But right now I'm just happy it doesn't smell like smoke anymore. But I probably should air it out a little bit, because it really does smell like dryer sheets like a lot. But yeah, so there's that piece. I got a 32 count Wexford linen in passion fruit, and I have to say, this linen feels and looks like an even weave. I mean, this does not look like linen at all. I don't know if I asked this question on Facebook and nobody was quite able to tell me. They were able to tell me the difference between Cashel and Belfast. That Cashel is always your 28 count and Belfast is always your 32 count, which is, I was kind of confused because I was looking on Chromatic Alchemy, which is a dyer, and they offer both 28 and 32 count for both Belfast and Cashel. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't check out or anything. I was just browsing. So I don't know if I tried to check out and put like a 32 Cashel, they'd be like, you know, like this is something. But if I might have to email them and say like, do you guys have some sort of thing I don't know about? And I know there's something in between that's a 36 count and Newcastle is 40 count. But nobody was able to tell me what Wexford linen is. And I'm wondering if it's some sort of linen even weave blend or something. Anyway, this is by Silk Weavers and it's in passion fruit. Is it passion fruit? Hold on, because I had two that I was looking at. Yeah, this one's passion fruit. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Oh my goodness. The reason I'm really getting into these is because Joan Elliott and Mirabilia basically, and they all look gorgeous on these type of, but I mean, I wish you could reach out. It doesn't feel like linen. It doesn't look like linen. The weave is perfect, but it says Wexford linen. Does somebody know what this is? Please tell me. I have no idea, but if this is actually linen, this is probably the most magnificent linen I've ever laid my eyes upon, because I am an even weave girl. I like trying linen. I will stitch on linen, especially hand dyes, because of the way the dye takes, and I like specifically how something looks. But if this is actually linen and it was more readily available, I would probably use this all the time. I mean, I'm telling you, if this was not labeled and I did not know, I would never in a million years think this was linen. So if you know what Wexford is, I tried Googling too, I didn't really find much, except like people selling it and stuff. But most of the, I don't know, I did not find what it was. And I'm really quite curious. Alright, the last piece of fabric I have to show you is an Ada. It's quite basic. It's actually in also by Silk Weavers, and it's a solo. I have a seller that I like called Jewel Junebug on eBay. I have the link in my last video. She does have a long shipping time. Sometimes it takes her a little longer to ship than most people, but her prices are great, and she has a ton of the she has a lot of Picture This Plus and a lot of Silk Weavers. And this is just supposed to be in white and gray mix, but it mostly came out gray. It is a solo dye, so no name or anything, but it is a perfect piece, a perfect color, and a perfect cut. I think actually bigger than what I need for a Etsy chart that I bought. So that's why I picked it up. Also because I was ordering the Wexford linen, and this was a really great deal. Most of her fabrics are just a few dollars less than what you would pay through Silk Weavers or Picture This Plus. Maybe like $3 to $5 less. But this was like fantastic. It was like $9 and normally would be like 15. So it was a good one. So that's all my fabric for now. I probably will have at least one piece of fabric to show you a month now, at least for a little while, so I'm excited. The other two purchases I have are DMC color card with the actual thread samples. A little bit bummed. I originally bought one off of eBay and it was a really an older one. But I was able to sell it and get the actual one. I just got it through actually DMC. So it's got, you can see there's, yeah, it's the actual thread samples, and I use this either for, now that I'm designing stuff, well, yeah, sort of, I can look at colors and pick them. I like how they're set up by color. This was like $24, so it was a really good deal. It's also got the variegated here. It's got the variegated. They have variegated, which is a monochrome, so like the same hue but different shades. And then they have the variegated color, which most people just still call it variegated, but they have two different names for it, which is when you actually go between different colors, like between a blue and a green and a white, instead of different shades of blue. They also have their metallics, which are called light effects. They don't have their satins, but that's okay, because here, next to, underneath the name, it has a box shaded. Depending on which box is shaded, it tells you if it's available as a pearl cotton, just as the 6 strand, if it's available as a satin and whatnot. So I'm really excited about this one, as I mentioned, because if I really do get into designing, it's a nice way to pick colors. And also because if I'm working off of kits, especially Bucilla kits that just come with a giant wad of unsorted floss, I can use the online conversions and this to actually color match stuff if I'm unsure about which color is which. So that's proved to be handy already. Alright, for Christmas, I got a gift card to 123 Stitch. Finally decided to purchase some things. First thing I got, Ink Circles Reflections of Paris. Ah, it's beautiful. I love it. I can't wait to stitch it. I'm going to stitch this on a teal linen with Leia's Cotton for Mo Sale. It is orange and purple variegation, so I think it'll look really awesome on the teal. And that's going to be a linen, so yeah, I don't stitch a linen a lot. I just talked about the whole linen thing and how if Wexford is really a linen that like looks like even weave, that's awesome. But yeah, so awesome. So excited. I probably will also do Reflections of London at some point just because it's awesome. The next thing I am over the moon about, I'm so excited. It is Mirabilia, Mermaid of Atlantis, and this is probably going to trump my Raven Queen, which was supposed to be my very first Mirabilia. It was going to be my New Year, New Start. Then I got the Nora Corbett instead, and I really wanted to start Gwen. And then I don't know, this called to me so much. I'm not saying I don't want to start Raven Queen. This. And the fabric I'm going to choose is also a linen. I know, I'm like stepping out, trying new things. Yeah, on a linen by Chromatic Alchemy in Flotsam and Jetsam, which is a model like green and navy blue. I was going to buy the even weave, but the dye took so much lighter that I just can't. It's not going to give the effect that I want. So I'm going to do it. I know Adele from Adele's, I don't know if her channel is just Adele's Cross Stitch. I don't actually know, but she's using that fabric for her Crescent Moon Dragon by Joan Elliott. Yes, Joan Elliott. And it's beautiful. And I can't wait. I think it's going to look gorgeous. I won't have the fabric for a while because it's going to be part of my Valentine's Day present. I asked my hubby, I'm like, I just want fabric this year. That's what I want. So, yeah. So, I want to start this for Stitch Mania. Don't know what day yet, but I know, like, if I order the fabric at the end of the mid to end of the month, I'll definitely have it by May, even if it's coming from the UK. So yeah, I also had some money left over after that, and I put a little bit of my own. I got the water lilies for Mermaid of Atlantis, and one of the beads. I got it because it's a Magnifica bead, which is different than the regular glassy beads, which I can get either at a later order from 123 Stitch or from my LNS. So this is Magnifica glass beads, 10036, pretty gold. And they are, I think they're supposed to be similar to the Delicas in that they're more cylindrical rather than rounded like a donut. This is almost kind of like a bugle bead that was cut into small pieces. Like it's a cylindrical bead. I wish I could show you, but I'd have to take it out of the package and such. But I got those because they're a little harder to find. And the water lilies that are required are, there's 3 of them, espresso, which is brown, really dark, almost brown black, and a red. And you can hear my dogs play fighting downstairs. My husband actually took them out of the room, which was really nice, but he opened the door for something and then I didn't close it back up, so whatever. The next one is Umbria, and it's like green and maroon and also some brown and stuff. Oh my gosh, they're really going at it. I'm sorry if you can hear that a lot. Also, I'm sorry, I don't know why I come out so close to those thing, but I'm not reshooting this video, so I'm sorry if parts of the video I'm like up in your face. I noticed that when I'm editing, but I'm like, well, I'm not gonna reshoot like an hour and 40 minutes of footage. Like, that's crazy. This is my favorite one. Teals, blues, and purples are my jam colors. This is Bermuda Reef. Blue, teal, aqua. Gorgeous. I can't wait to use this. I'm not sure. I think either the espresso or the Umbria are on the border because I can see some slight variegation. I'm guessing this is going to be part of her tail. I don't know. I can't wait. So, got some water lilies. One of the beads. I think I need to get like 4 or 5. Actually, I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need 6 more. This is the 7th one. And I think I might go with Petite Treasure Braid instead of Krynic. I think I'm gonna give that a go. So I was looking for the conversion. I think I wrote it down and I lost it, so I'm gonna have to look it up again. I think my LNS sells a few of the colors, but I might have to go the eBay route, or maybe so and so. The last purchase. So, Letitia, Carolyn Mazzeo, Jessie, Tracy, Brittany, and probably many more of you. I just had to. It kept popping up and I couldn't hold back anymore. Jeanette Lee Mayhew's Cross Stitch Safari. This was such a good deal, first of all. When I found it out, I knew I had to purchase it. This is the paperback, but it's still fine. It got a little scrunch at the top. I'm a little bit annoyed, but I got it for a fantastic deal. I want to stitch pretty much everything in here, but I think my first one is going to be Paradise Flycatcher, A Graceful Tale. It's one of the smaller ones, but that's not why I picked it. I just really like birds, which again also comes from my dad. Not as much as he does, but he really likes his birds. Animals in general, but he loves his birds. And I'll probably just start this in Mania, so that's the one I want to do there. And I don't know if after that I'll go with either the chimp or the gorilla. They both look cool to me. That was everything except for my final bit. My final surprise. My hubby's stitching another pattern. I mean, he just does it every here and again, here and now. I don't know. It is an Etsy pattern. He was just scrolling one day and I'm like, ooh, he's like, that one. This is not the pattern, it's just a picture on the Etsy page. Rebel Scum and Proud. Lots of red. I don't know if he's gonna get tired of that. But he began on a hoop, which by the way he discovered he likes it over the frame and not in the well, and was complaining to me because he says, oh, in the well is such a cool name. Why do we just get like over the frame? Isn't there some cool name? So he named this the drum. This is what it's called. This is his drum. I know some people call it like it's got a drum like tension, but he's just like, no, this is not called over the frame anymore. It's called the drum. So anyway, he's got So it's gonna say rebel, which is funny. He had his first unpicking or frogging experience because he did the L upside down for some odd reason. So now he's fixing it. So yeah, he'll cross stitch with me every once in a while. He'll probably not be done till Christmas if if he goes at this pace, but that's okay. I appreciate that he's sharing the hobby that I love so much with me. So that is it for now. This is funny, this is less stuff and I talk for longer, what have you. Then again, I do have to edit some parts out, so if I repeat myself or whatever. So maybe it won't be that long, but yeah. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, comments, anything, leave them in the section below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Again, thank you so much for this community. It's so wonderful. I love it. Thank you all. I'll see you next time. Bye.